Learning English, math, and science is incredibly important. But if we are not educating the next generation to be decent human beings to one another, then what's the point of it all?
Character education, also known as moral education, is a national movement creating schools that teach good character through an emphasis on universal values. It is one of the 6 goals of the Department of Education to promote character and citizenship among the nation's youth. More specifically, character education is defined as education that nurtures and promotes the ethical, intellectual, social, and emotional development of individuals. It is a continuous learning process that enables students and adults in a school community to understand, care about, and act on core ethical values such as honesty, respect, justice, civic virtue, and citizenship, and responsibility for yourself and others. To better understand character education's role in public schools, it is imperative to know its history. Like Dewey said in 1944 and throughout history, it is commonplace of educational theory that the establishing of character is a comprehensive aim of school instruction and discipline. Famous 4th and 5th century philosophers like Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates advocated for formal teaching of morals and values. They believed that the purpose of education was to train good and virtuous citizens. The common school of the 18th and 19th centuries was intentionally created with the purpose of creating character and citizenry knowledge in students. Specifically, Horace Mann was a strong advocate of moral education. Educators enjoyed a consensus with curricula utilizing the Bible as the source for both moral and religious instruction. Throughout time, character education was referred to by many names, the most prominent moral education. Then, in the later part of the 19th century, teachers were hired and trained with clear expectations that they would advance the moral mission of schools. In the 20th century, Americans' strongest roots of moral truths resided in religion and the community. Dewey's Pedagogic Creed of 1987 announced, "All education proceeded from individuals' participation in the social consciousness of the race, and that this unconscious education resulted in the students also sharing in humanity's collective intellectual and moral resources." In the 50s, controversy was present. Individual rights were stressed over communal values. Some even argued for values-free classrooms. Following that, in the 60s and 70s, teachers shied away from incorporating values. They were afraid to impose their own values on students. Also, teachers moved away from assessing behavior to evaluating the quality of students' thinking. A shift occurred in the 80s and 90s in which there was a reintroduction of moral education as character education. This change was less religious focused and brought about by parents and politicians, not teachers. Character education has historically played a large role in the purposes of public school education and continues to be mandated by the state. Therefore, student teachers should be trained in character education curricula and instruction, and should have an awareness of the approaches they can take within their classrooms. However, there is a deficit in research regarding character education effectiveness and implementation fidelity.
In light of this, it's important to consider the role the state has played in character education. Policymakers at all levels have expressed an interest in making sure students are being educated to be good citizens. Federal involvement began in 1995 with the Partnerships in Character Education program. In its 6-year run, this program awarded 46 grants at over $45 million to different state agencies for the implementation of character education programs. On the state level, as of 2019, 16 states have policies encouraging character education or social-emotional learning programs, while only 15 states actually require these programs at their schools. One of these states is Virginia.
Educating for character, the social, emotional, and ethical development of our students that is the foundation for academic achievement, has been an honored tradition since organized public schooling began in the 19th century. Nowhere is this more evident than in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This tradition continues in classrooms today as teachers show students how to learn, work, and play.
The VDOE provides information and instruction on how to incorporate character education into the curriculum, but there is no established framework. Local school boards are left to make their own decisions on what exactly character education looks like in practice. In Albemarle County, character education is required but is allowed to look different in every school as long as it is based on the 11 principles created by the Character Education Partnerships. Programs used include the 6 pillars from Character Counts and the All-Wise Bullying Prevention Model. According to the county, character education should never be viewed as an add-on program of something to do, but rather as a comprehensive approach which touches all aspects of the school climate from classroom management to teaching strategies to the playground and athletic fields.
Most controversy regarding teaching character education in public schools centers around religion.
This time, the Lake County School Board says Jerry Buell crossed the line between separation of church and state.
Many people who are hostile towards religion see teaching character education as a way to bring religious perspectives back in schools. On the other hand, individuals who are religious are suspicious that teaching character education undermines their family-based religion training. Teachers do not want to infringe upon the separation of church and state, and since no one is checking to make sure they are meeting goals, teachers avoid teaching character education altogether. Many teachers feel overwhelmed with pressures and time demands of covering academic standards,
etc. But what I am against is devoting valuable curriculum time to trying to teach character.
They see teaching character and ethics as additional demands to tackle after the academic demands have been met.
Starting in like 2001, that was like this huge issue at these schools, where it was like anything that was SEL or character related, they're like, we don't have time for this. And I saw it in the schools I was working in. They were like, we don't have time. We don't do social studies anymore. We don't have time for that. We have to concentrate on math and reading. And that has still been, even with ESSA in place, we're still seeing the remnants of that.
In addition, unlike academic standards that can be measured by a test, character education is difficult to measure. If teachers choose to implement character education in their class, how will they know if their instruction is successful? We asked Jean Lamar, Director of Staff Development at the Little Keswick School, on the value of incorporating character education into a social-emotional curriculum.
Your belief system informs your behaviors, right? And so if your belief system is such that everybody deserves to be treated with dignity and respect no matter what, then that influences how you treat people. And so it creates the skill of being kind, and this is kind of what we do here at Little Keswick School. It creates the skill of being kind even in the face of adversity, even in the face of encountering somebody who's behaving badly or who has a different value system than you.
Jody Berkey, the assistant head of the Little Keswick School, comments on the importance of fully integrating character education into schools.
And I think that's a lot different than kind of sprinkling it over top. Is like sprinkles on a sundae or something. Like, they're pretty and they're sweet and they look good and they make the sundae like really Pinteresty. But is that really the core of what the program is? So if you're just taking 15 minutes and you're talking about character traits and building skills and things like that, but it's not integrated into the entire program, then I think it falls flat. So I think on its face, skill-based or character education is good, but I think it's all in the implementation of how you do it.
If schools are going to utilize character education, both teacher education programs and school officials should strive to prepare teachers to fully integrate character education into their teaching.